Hey, Math 85. This is the first section in Chapter 1. It's section 1.1, and it's all about whole numbers. So, what are the whole numbers? Well, the whole numbers start with 0. And they just continue on. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they just keep going on forever. So they start with 0. No fractions, no decimals, just starting at 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if we were to graph the whole numbers, we would start at 0, and just keep going. So those are the whole numbers. Remember, no fractions, no decimals. Just 0, 1, 2, 3, and on forever. So each whole number has its own place value. So we call 4, 7, 3, and 6 digits. And each digit has its own place value. And if you look on page 12 in the first edition, you can see all the place values. So just to go over these, 4 is sitting in the thousand spot because it's 4,000. 7 is sitting in the hundreds place because it's 700. 3 is sitting in the tenth spot because it's 30, and 6 is sitting in the 1 spot, so there's 6 ones. So that's 4,736. If I have 11,238, what does the 2 represent? Or what place value does the 2 represent? So the 2, it's 11,238, so the 2 is in the hundreds place. what does, I've got two ones, I'm going to say, what does the first one represent? So now I'm looking at this one right there. So if this, we learned back up here that the 4 was in the thousands place, going 1 over to the left, that is my 10,000ths place. And last, what does the 8 represent? And the 8 is sitting here, and the 8 is sitting in the ones place. So they're going to ask you on the homework to identify what place a certain number is in. They'll give you a number, a whole number, and they'll give you a digit from the whole number, and they're going to ask you what does each, or maybe one digit represent, or mean what place. How would we write one of these numbers in words? So let's say I had this whole number, 3,875, and I don't know if you know it or not, but every 3 digits we place a comma. Well, how would I would just write that in words, just how I just said it. So the 3 is in the thousand spot, so that's 3,000. 8 is in the hundredth spot, so that's 800. 7 is actually means 70, 7 tens. So I would write that as 3,875. Let's try another one. Okay, so how would I write 15,928 in words? Well, there's 15 thousands, so 15,000. 9 is in the hundred spot, 900. 28. So just writing it in words, 15,928. If I had 303, I've got 300s, no tens, because I have a 0 in the 10 spot, and 3 ones. So I would just simply write 303. And I think you're asked a couple of these questions on the WebAssign homework to write out, take the whole number and write it out in words. Last thing we're going to be doing in section 1.1 is rounding whole numbers. So there's two ways they talk about in the book that you can do this. One is by following the rounding rules, and another is simply by putting it on a number line. So if I wanted to round, let's say, let's start easy, 57, and I wanted to round to the nearest 10. So, who's sitting in the 10 spot? The 5. So we want to round to that spot. So look next door to the right. We see a 7 sitting there. If the number next door is 5 or greater, we bump up the tens place by 1. So if the number next door to the right is 5 or greater, we bump up the tens place by 1. If that number is 4 or lower, we keep the tens place the same. After you follow rule 1 or 2, you're either going to bump it up by 1 or keep it the same. You fill in your zeros. So 57, we look next door to the 7. Is 7 5 or higher or 4 or lower? 7 is bigger than 5. So we want to bump up the 5 by 1. Five and 1 is 6, so our answer is 60. So since the number next door is bigger than 5, we take the 10th spot, bump it up 1, we get 6, and then we fill in the last spot with a 0. How is that so far? Now that's one way to go. If you want to follow the rounding rules, you can. If not, if you want to put it on a number line, you can put it on a number line. So we want to round. So 57 falls between which two 10s? It falls between 60 and 50. And where is 57? Well, if you put it on the number line, it's closer to 60. So 60 is the answer, which is what we got when we used the rounding rules. So you can either put it on a number line or use the rules. They're both explained in the book or in the ebook online. So what if I wanted to round, let's see another one. $3,452 is our number, and I want to round to the nearest thousand. So who's sitting in the 1,000 place? The 3 is. So I'm going to look next door to the right. 4 is 4 or lower. So we're going to keep, according to our rules, we're going to keep the 3 the same. Okay, so we keep the 3 the same, put in our comma, and we fill in zeros. So 3,452 rounded to the nearest thousand is 3,000. And if we want to think about it on the number line, where does this, between what two thousandths does 3,452 fall? And we've got 3,000, it's actually between 3,000 and 4,000. And here's about the middle. So here's where 3,452 falls, and it's closer to 3,000. So we get the same answer either way. So that is section 1.1, whole numbers. Try the 6 questions on your WebAssign homework. And if you have any questions, just shoot me off an email and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. But like I said, there's only 6 questions, so good luck.